Picture this. The 1970s was a time when people went crazy, rebelled against rules, and rock and roll music was at its best. Two huge music stars stood at the center of it all. Jimmy Page was the amazing guitar player who created Led Zeppelin's incredible sound, and Ozzy Osbourne was the wild lead singer of Black Sabbath, the band that started heavy metal music. For many years, these two musicians crossed paths in an uncomfortable dance of respect, competition, and hidden anger. But today, Page finally spoke up, and what he said about Ozzy shocked the entire rock music world. The truth is, their friendship was never what fans thought it was. While Led Zeppelin and Black Sabbath are often talked about together as the fathers of heavy music, Jimmy and Ozzy were nowhere close to being friends. Both bands started around the same time, both came from England, and both shook up the music world with their heavy blues-based sound. But while Zeppelin's musical skills were praised as amazing, I went for the surgery because I thought I was going to get paralyzed. Black Sabbath was often put down as simple, almost accidental creators of a music style they never meant to create. And Jimmy knew it. Ozzy, on the other hand, always felt the heaviness of Zeppelin's shadow hanging over Black Sabbath. Page was the careful guitar player who made detailed guitar parts with perfect timing. He was the complete opposite of Ozzy, the careless, self-destructive, crazy person whose wild personality often covered up his musical talents. The tension between them only got worse as Zeppelin rose to godlike fame, selling out huge stadiums all over the world, while Sabbath was hurt by inner fighting and instability. And while Page created smart masterpieces like Stairway to Heaven, Ozzy was busy screaming about War Pigs and Iron Men, fighting to be taken seriously by music critics. By the late 1970s, Ozzy's world was falling apart. He was fired from Black Sabbath in 1979 because of his out-of-control drug use. He was left spinning in a fog of alcohol, cocaine, and hopelessness. Jimmy, who had fought his own addictions but managed to keep Zeppelin together, saw Ozzy's self-destruction as a warning of what could happen. But then something no one expected happened. Ozzy fought his way back. All I remember of being I was in absolute agony. With the help of Sharon Osbourne, he made himself new again with Blizzard of Oz in 1980, proving he wasn't just a washed-up drug addict. His career took off while Zeppelin was falling apart after the tragic death of drummer John Bonham. This was a bitter pill for Jimmy to swallow. Ozzy, the man he had once dismissed, was suddenly filling huge concert halls, building a solo career, while Page was left walking through the ruins of Led Zeppelin's legacy. And the anger simmered under the surface. Jimmy Page isn't the first, and won't be the last, to call out Ozzy Osbourne. The Prince of Darkness has left a trail of destruction and bad blood behind him, getting into legendary fights with fellow musicians, industry people, and even his own family. Ozzy's firing from Black Sabbath wasn't just about drugs. It was about power, control, and years of building hostility. Tony Iommi, the band's mastermind and driving force, had grown more and more frustrated with Ozzy's crazy behavior, missed practice sessions, and unpredictable outbursts. The band had put up with his wild actions for years, but by the late 1970s, his drug abuse had become more than a personal problem. It was messing with the music. The decision to fire Ozzy was not made easily, but when it happened, it was brutal. There were no heartfelt goodbyes, no emotional making up, just a cold, calculated split that left Ozzy bitter and furious. He later lashed out at Iommi, calling him a control freak who had pushed him out of the band he helped build. Ozzy's anger ran deep, feeling as if he had been betrayed by the very people he considered family. The pain of that separation haunted him for years. Even after years of trying to get back together, their relationship stayed strained. Whenever the two found themselves in the same room, there was an unmistakable tension, a thick cloud of unresolved anger hanging over them. While they tried to fix things for the sake of fans and nostalgia, the scars of their split never truly healed. For Ozzy, it was always personal. Being kicked out of Black Sabbath wasn't just about losing a band. It was about losing who he was. No matter how successful he became as a solo artist, the bitterness of that betrayal never entirely left him. When Ozzy was out, Sabbath replaced him with Ronnie James Dio, a move that made him furious beyond belief. To Ozzy, Dio was not just a replacement. He was an intruder, someone stepping into his shoes and trying to redefine a band that had once been his entire world. The bitterness was easy to feel. Ozzy made fun of Dio relentlessly, making jokes about his short height, his soaring vocal style, and his theatrical stage presence, which Ozzy saw as overly dramatic and pretentious. He dismissed Dio's voice as opera for metalheads, and repeatedly put down his ability to connect with fans the way he had. But Dio, known for his sharp wit and unwillingness to back down, hit back just as hard. He once said that Ozzy had no musical talent whatsoever, accusing him of relying entirely on others to write songs, structure albums, and keep his career going. The two men exchanged insults for years. Their fight spilled over into interviews, media appearances, and even the attitudes of their fan bases. To Sabbath fans, the split between Ozzy and Dio represented a deeper war over the band's identity. Was Black Sabbath a raw, chaotic force of nature under Ozzy, or a refined, powerful machine with Dio at the front? The tension escalated to ridiculous heights when both singers found themselves performing at the same festivals, each making subtle or not-so-subtle digs at the other during their shows. Ozzy fans would boo Dio's Sabbath songs, while Dio supporters would chant his name whenever Ozzy took the stage. The rivalry was so intense that even members of Black Sabbath themselves grew tired of it, with Tony Iommi once saying that working with both singers at different times felt like being caught between two fighting kings. Despite their public hatred, there was an underlying mutual respect buried beneath the insults and showing off. Years later, after Dio's death in 2010, admitted that while they had their differences, Dio had been one of the greatest vocalists in rock history. But during their lifetimes, their war of words became the stuff of legend. A battle between two huge egos that added yet another layer of chaos to Ozzy's already crazy career. In the mid-2000s, Ozzy found himself at war with Iron Maiden's Bruce Dickinson. During the 2005 Ozzfest tour, Dickinson criticized Ozzy's reliance on teleprompters and accused him of being a fake product rather than a real artist. Dickinson, known for his sharp tongue and refusal to hold back, made it clear that he saw Ozzy as more of a media personality than a true frontman. His insults were relentless, questioning Ozzy's credibility and even suggesting that his entire career had been held up by those around him rather than by his own talent. Sharon Osbourne, never one to take an insult lightly, fought back in the most public and theatrical way possible. During Maiden's set at Ozzfest, she organized an elaborate act of sabotage, cutting the power mid-performance, throwing eggs at the band, and telling audience members to boo Dickinson. It was a moment of pure chaos, one that went down as one of the most infamous incidents in metal history. Fans were divided. Some saw it as an unfair attack, while others enjoyed the pure spectacle of rock star pettiness reaching new heights. The fight didn't end there. Dickinson doubled down, calling the Osbournes a circus act and accusing them of turning the metal world into a reality show spectacle. Ozzy, for his part, largely stayed quiet, perhaps because he knew that in some ways Dickinson wasn't entirely wrong. The entire mess cemented their rivalry in rock lore, a bitter war of words that neither side would soon forget. Ozzy's personal life has been no less chaotic. His marriage to Sharon, while seemingly unbreakable, has been riddled with cheating, substance abuse, and domestic trouble. In 2016, his affair with a hairstylist nearly ended their decades-long marriage. Publicly embarrassed, Sharon kicked him out, only for the two to get back together after months of therapy. But that was far from the first time their marriage was rocked by scandal. Ozzy's countless affairs over the years, his destructive behavior, and even his run-ins with the law had put their relationship through hell. There were incidents of domestic violence, periods where Sharon had to distance herself, and moments when divorce seemed certain. Yet time and again, they patched things up. Their toxic love story playing out in the public eye like a never-ending rock opera of chaos. And getting back together, his children to have faced struggles growing up under his massive shadow. Jack and Kelly Osbourne have both battled addiction, struggling to create their own identities while carrying the weight of their father's infamous legacy. Their upbringing captured in the wildly successful reality show. The Osbournes painted a picture of a dysfunctional, out-of-control household where fights, meltdowns, and substance abuse were a daily occurrence. But behind the humor and outrageous antics, there were real scars. Emotional wounds that even fame and fortune couldn't heal. Even outside of his immediate family, Ozzy's personal chaos extended to his relationships with former managers, record labels, and industry insiders. Accusations of financial mismanagement, lawsuits, and public outbursts have made him one of rock's most unpredictable figures. His long-standing battles with sobriety have led to numerous relapses, forcing him to cancel tours and disappoint fans. Time and time again, Jimmy Page's recent revelations about Ozzy may have shocked fans. But in truth, they only confirm what has long been known. Ozzy Osbourne is one of rock's most controversial, unpredictable figures. He has feuded, fought, and failed. Yet, he has also survived. While Jimmy's career was built on precision and careful craftsmanship, Ozzy's was built on chaos. One is a composer, the other, a madman. And perhaps that's why their paths were always destined to collide. Today, Ozzy remains a rock legend, not despite his scandals, but because of them. Love him or hate him, one thing is certain: he will never, ever be ignored.